Stephen A. Smith has been trying the hardest not to say that we should vote for Trump. Let's take a look at this interview between him and Patrick Bet David. And we got to talk about this. Check it out.
The man for value entertainment, the PBD podcast, Patrick Bet David himself is sitting right next to me.
My man.
How are you, my man? It's good to see you,
good.
buddy.
How
How's
you
everything
doing?
going? I can't complain, man. I can't complain. First of all, how's life these days for you? Let me just get this straight, because we're sitting here in the aftermath of a presidential debate. You are unapologetic about who you're going to vote for, and you have been telling everybody and their grandparents that you see what's going on the left, et cetera, et cetera. What has life been like for you over the last couple of weeks or so since that debate has taken place?
Since that debate has taken place. Well, I mean, this is probably the most, if we were to talk about a, person who is the face of a league, okay, in sports, you're a sports guy. If you were to say, what is the worst performance the MVP or the face of the league has had in a finals game, in a fight where you're so disappointed, who would you say, right?
I got to give props to Stephen A. because Stephen A. doesn't say himself that this man should not be up there running for president, but he brings other people that kind of says what he's thinking. The fact that Biden shouldn't be up there running, but let's see.
And no matter who you ask, left, right, or center, everybody will tell you this is the worst performance we've ever seen in the history of any presidential debate. Doesn't matter who you put up there.
Reagan versus Jimmy Carter.
No. This is
Barack Obama versus Mitt Romney, the first go round.
Well, Romney got it the second go round, and then Romney on the third go round. I was on a flight one time with Bill O'Reilly from Burbank to Vegas, and this was an event he was doing back then, I think, with Dennis Miller. Just like, I don't know, whatever the time is when Romney and Obama are going back and forth. And I said, hey, what the hell happened? Romney had the lead in second debate. Third debate, he got all soft. He says, because Romney got feedback from his marketing team that single women voters don't like the way they were hard on Obama on Benghazi. He took that counsel and he lost. He could have beaten Obama, but he didn't go strong on the third one. No, there's never been anything worse than what we saw here. We've never seen anybody choke, not being able to deliver a single message, allowing Trump to have that one hit to say, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what he just said. And I don't think he even knows what he said. So now the real thing is going to be how quickly the DNC is going to be able to replace. If so, if not, there's many moving parts, but we're living in uncharted territories right now. We're going to see what's going to happen.
I think people got to stop pretending like something is not wrong with Joe Biden. Like it's clear. So we just need people such as Stephen A. Smith to just admit it that we got the wrong guy running for president.
It's interesting because you've talked, and we'll get into all of this because I don't know too many people you haven't interviewed, to be quite honest with you. You sat down with me years ago. This is before you brought me to your studios here in Florida. But we sat down when you came to see me in New York City. You've interviewed the late great Kobe Bryant. You've interviewed a plethora of other notable figures inside and outside the world of sports or what have you. But I know what level of passion you have for this particular subject. Are you of the mindset, even though I know that you want Trump to win, are you of the mindset that in Biden's case, he should step out of the race or he should finish the deal?
Do you trust in his way to communicate any message with anybody? Do you trust him? Because this is how it works in the world of business, okay? Let's just say, Stephen A., you're running a $3.5 trillion a year company. Let's call this company USA, okay? Let's say on behalf of you, I'm going to go negotiate with another guy named G or another guy named Vlad. Let's just call him Vlad. Or let's call another guy named Zelensky, okay? Or another guy named Raisi or whoever, Khamenei, that's running Iran, the late Raisi. Would you trust Biden on behalf of you to go negotiate with any one of those guys? I don't think you'd say yes to that.
I wouldn't.
Exactly. So we are the owners of this country. Mm-hmm. We're the voters, mm-hmm. right? We are voting for somebody on behalf of us to go negotiate in a favorable term for us. It's very simple. You have.
And that's crazy that we got Biden going around negotiating for us. We got the old man that somebody should say, hey, take the keys away from that guy. Don't let him drive anywhere. This is not safe.
To negotiate favorable terms on the $200 billion we gave to Zelensky. You have to negotiate in favorable terms to put the fear in, Putin to not do what he's doing to, Ukraine. You have to put the fear in G. So to me, it starts that simple. It's not even about me and Trump are not friends. I've never broke bread with him to have like a conversation. You probably had more interactions with him one-on-one than I've had with him. I've met him at a UFC fight. Dana made the introduction. I've been to Mar-a-Lago a couple times. I've met his son. I've met him. I've met Don a couple times.
I've never seen him since 2014.
That's the financial advice he gave.
That's the last time we saw each other, when we were at a game, at the Knicks game, and he introduced me to Bill O'Reilly at that particular moment in time. And I was the person he called in 2014 when he was trying to purchase the Buffalo Bills. And he said to me on the phone, he said, Stephen A., I want to get the Bills. He said, but I got a feeling these folks are going to get in my way. And his exact words to me, and I've said this publicly, so I'll echo it to you. He said, if them fuckers get in my way, I'm going to get them back. I'm going to run for president.
And win the presidency.
That's exactly what he said.
He said this to you.
He said this to me in 2014.
Wow.
He said it to me in 2014. He's trying to get the Bills. The price for it was $1.4 billion.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to get it. And there you have it.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen A. should say, I personally don't think the guy's a racist. He's a regular, normal human being. He talks to everybody. So let's stop using that moniker. The fact that he's a racist. No, he's not. So Stephen A. just cannot get himself to say that because of the backlash that he will get.
So think about, by the way, I spoke to him and I said, I'd love to see you on Stephen A. It's one of the first things I told him. I said, I'd love to see you on Stephen A. I think that would be a entertaining interview if you interviewed.
If Trump goes in Stephen A. and Joe Rogan, those two interviews will be epic. We'll guarantee a win for Trump. So let's see if we can see Trump in Stephen A. or Joe Rogan show.
Trump.
I wouldn't run from it. I'd gladly interview him.
I know you would. And I think it'd be very entertaining for everybody to watch. And if they're watching it right now, they ought to consider it, especially if they did Logan Paul. It'd be a very different kind of an audience to speak to because a big part of the audience listens to you. So for me, I just did 3 interviews today. Today's, whatever the day is, day after 4th of July, we're sitting here. You're working the day after 4th of July. Most of America right now is like, no, it's my 4-day weekend, all this stuff, right? We're grinding, we're working. I asked one of the guys, I said, hey, you're interviewing today. He says, yes. So you sure you want to work for a company that's working on 5th of July, day after 4th of July? He says, I asked the question myself, right? Do you think President Biden is working on the 5th of July? Do you think he's working 6 days a week the way Trump would do? Do you think he would pick up the calls? Do you think he would pick up the calls more than a Newsom? Do you think he would pick up the calls more than any of the other candidates? So the fact that they have him over a Trump as a candidate, I trust Trump in the locker room to sit down and talk to these guys with G. Did you hear the story that when Byron Donalds was on State Steel, the other fellow that was with him that said, hey, what's the best Trump story that you have? His
epic story. Check this out.
Said he goes one time and sits and talks to the Taliban. And he says, hey, I want you to know something. We're about to exit Afghanistan when I get reelected. When we do, I swear to God, if you do anything to any of my soldiers, even a hair, if anything happens to them, I'm going to kill you. I'm telling you this respectfully. I don't want to have problems with you. Trump gets up, takes out a sheet of paper out of his pocket, hands it to the man with a picture of his house and his family, and walks out.
Wow.
See, I want
Byron Donald told that story.
Byron Donald's associate next to him on Sage Steele's.
That's crazy story. Here, I found it online. Let me play the story for you guys. Check it out.
While President Trump was still the president. President Trump wanted to get out of Afghanistan, but he wanted a conditions-based withdrawal, meaning that you do what we tell you to do, and then we will start pulling troops back slowly as long as you abide by our rules. It's President Trump and Mike Pompeo, and they are talking to Taliban leadership in the room, and they had one translator. President Trump looked at the Taliban leader and said this, I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be a conditions-based withdrawal. And translator translated. And he said, if you harm a hair on a single American, I'm going to kill you. And the translator goes, and Trump goes, tell him what I said. Reached in his pocket, pulled out a satellite photo of the leader of the Taliban's home and handed it to him.
Shut up.
Got up and walked out the room.
Sure did.
Do you know for 18 months not a single American was killed in Afghanistan?
Sure did.
That's the definition of strength. When we
That's crazy. You got to give Trump props for that, man. Amazing story. All right, let's keep listening to this because what can you say? Trump is the man.
I'll give you the link afterwards. Told a story. And guess what? Do you believe that kind of a story? I do.
So
I do believe he would say something like that. I think we need strength today. We don't have it.
Let's get into you for a quick second here. For people who don't know you, just read it from my notes here because I want to make sure I have it right.
At the end of the day, I hate the fact that Stephen A. just can't say it. So he got to bring other people to talk positive for Trump because he doesn't want to deal with the backlash with all the Never Trump team that's going to go up against Stephen A. So look what he does to avoid that. All right, let me see this last part.
Immigrated to America when you were 10 years of age after your parents fled Iran as refugees during the Iranian Revolution. Is that correct?
Yes.
They were eventually granted U.S. citizenship. Of course, you joined the U.S. military, served in the 101st Airborne after high school. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Okay, so look at the Patriots. I see you. Launch PHP Agency Inc., an insurance, sales, marketing, and distribution company before you turned 30.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So when you think about yourself, as a person living here in America, as a guy, family fled from Iran, you're here in America, this American citizen that you are, this pride that you have. Talk to me about what your vision is of what America should be.
What America should be. Okay, so take a look at this. You're the greatest guy in sports commentating ever, right? You're the GOAT. Everybody calls you the GOAT.
I don't call myself.
I'm not saying you calling it. We get to say that, but you're the GOAT in the face of. If I want to find out what something happens with, hey, LeBron James contract 2 years, $102 million, and he didn't decide to take a lower contract to get, Paul, $104 million or whatever it is to get Paul George.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. At the end of the day, the Democratic Party is a cult. All right, they vote blue no matter who. And that's it. They're all vote as a team. And it's really, really hard to get them off of that team. And to be honest and just admit the truth. The fact that we have an elderly man running the country who shouldn't be running the country. We need to step it up. So Stephen A. is not stepping it up. Joe Rogan needs to just say it. Although he says it verbally, but he's refusing to bring Trump on his show. And then there's Jon Stewart. I used to be a fan of Jon Stewart until he just started not making sense. Check out this Jon Stewart show that he did where he's pointing it out the fact that Biden got issues, but he just can't say vote for Trump.
My name is Jon Stewart, and we are back, baby. By the way, I want to start off very quickly and mention a very quick congratulations to England and France, who held their elections to great success. We would talk about them tonight, but we're in America. So, last week we did a live show after the debate. Where did we leave off? This cannot be real life. It just can't. We're America. God. Ah, yes, anger and despair. By the way, for those of you at home, the scripts are printed on Kevlar, which is why I had trouble. It's no way weak fingers. Now, since the debate, it's been quite interesting, actually. Many Democrats have expressed concern that the president has a hard time expressing thoughts. And then there is this other camp who thinks that those people should shut the f*** up.
Stop this whining, stop the complaining, stop trying to be the cool, cynical kids.
I would not want to be in a foxhole with any of the people who, were clutching their pearls all of a sudden.
Pearl clutching and hand wringing. We're bedwetting and soaking all the way through the mattress.
We panic and piss our pants.
First of all, I'm not sure incontinence is the metaphor you want to go with.
Jon Stewart, again, he's funny. Now he's running a show every Monday. What's today? Tuesday. So this show he ran yesterday, but I think it's too little too late. Let's keep watching.
And second of all, when are we going to free Senator Fetterman from the Turkish prison he's being held in? I don't know. Piss his pants. But to those of you who say these concerns are simple pearl wetting and bed clutching, we all make mistakes, I thought I would take a moment to explain where the concern about Biden's performance might be coming from, and why these concerns may be seen as a more foundational issue. You see, even before the debate, there had been some troubling moments of disconnect from the president. Perhaps this chart could, if I may, sorry, the pen caps are made of Kevlar. Very difficult to. Perhaps this chart will illustrate and illuminate the point more clearly. For instance, in 2022, when we saw Biden give a shout out to Representative Jackie.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Unfortunately, Jackie was dead. It's something that the president seemed to have known 6 weeks earlier when he released a condolence statement about her death. So,
It's like the media got a memo that they are now allowed to just go at Biden and really critique him and talk about the fact that the man is not there, that he's an old man that shouldn't be in charge. And now look, they're making fun of him. They should have been doing this from the beginning.
And then there was the recounting of a recent conversation that the president had with his counterpart, the president of France.
And Mitterrand from France looked at me and said, why, how long are you back for?
Unfortunately, Mitterrand is also dead. For longer even than that first lady. So
again, it's like everybody got the memo. It's okay for you to make fun of Biden, and we got to get this guy out. So let it rip. And now everybody's making fun of Biden. The cult is breaking down, and they're going to give the nomination to somebody else, I think. Let's see.
And even on teleprompter, things continue to, like the reading of the instructions people sometimes add to teleprompter scripts.
The percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. At the Catholic school.
End of quote. Repeat the line. Come on now. This is not new. This old man been like this in the beginning.
I went to was a guy named Riley, last name. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years.
Pause.
Then, of course, to be fair, State of the Union. Concern dropped a little bit at the State of the Union. He kind of nailed it. But then the debate happened, and we kind of, what the f***? What? Now, to my mind, the debate was a shocking display of cognitive difficulty. recognizable to, unfortunately, anybody who's dealt with aging parents, and it's a hard watch. But there were many viewers who felt it was not as noteworthy as Biden's opponent in the debate.
It's pretty amazing that 90% of the conversation is around Joe Biden's style. When up on that stage, Donald Trump was engaged in a level of pathological lying that we've never seen.
That's all they do now, calling Trump a liar. Politicians in general are liars. They don't work with 100% truth.
Questions also be about Trump's fitness to serve.
Every time he opened his mouth, he said something insane or that was a lie. Why aren't there calls for Trump to drop out? Where are they?
Yeah. Why doesn't anyone ever speak out about Donald Trump?
You know, Trump is doing a great job right now just staying quiet and watching his opponent, Biden, self-destroy. Like the whole Democratic Party is doing the work for him. So he doesn't even have to say anything.
Or let's say every night for 10 years. But you know what? Fair point. I take your point. Not me, because I wasn't here, but other people. Fair point. And let's take a look at Trump's chart.
Look at that. January 6th is the worst thing they got on Trump, which he didn't even do anything. Like a bunch of group of illegal criminals did something and they want to blame it on Trump.
It's been bad since he started with grabbing by the pussy. I mean, what are you going to do? The whole thing's been bad. The whole thing. The difference is this. I will tell you the difference. I will tell you the difference. The difference is Trump delivered at the debate to expectation. We expect him to be crazy. But Biden's performance and inability to articulate at times was stunning. Like, I could not believe what I was watching. Just thinking about it again just makes me want to rip up my... Why do we make this out of such strong material? But then it got worse. Rather than respecting the American people and having an honest, at least partial conversation about what we had all seen, we were told immediately, these are not the droids you're looking for.
He has a stutter. He hasn't debated in 4 years.
He was almost over-prepared.
He had an off night. People have an off night.
You know, the president traveled 6 time zones forward to.
So what? He's the president. He's supposed to be the strongest man in the team, not this guy who's struggling.
G7, and he was also continued to do his presidential duties, and also he had a cold. He was jet lagged.
He'd been home for almost 2 weeks. He was jet lagged? How big is that fucking jet? The point is, for a campaign based on honesty and decency, the spin about the debate appears to be blatant bullshit. And the redemption tour hasn't gone that much better, whether it's been on the radio.
Well, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with the black president.
So I'm assuming he's talking about that he nominated the first black woman to the Supreme Court. And he served with the first black president. But because he doesn't know how to articulate himself, how to say it correctly, he came off as he is the first black woman. So, and this is the radio. So that means he must have been reading a script. It's crazy. You know, he could have delivered this line without really looking at paper, just thinking about it. But because he was trying to be as concise as possible and follow a script, I personally think that's the reason why he messed up. So trying to stick to the script.
Yes, Queen. Or whether the president is on prompter and fired up.
Well, let me say this clearly as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
In 2020?
I got to tell you, somehow confusion with confidence is even more unsettling. Or when the president sat down with George Stephanopoulos to prove once and for all how cogent he is and to film a bronzer ad. Orange man good? None of this was reassuring. And we're told that the threat of Trump is so great and the stakes are so high that even bringing up these absolutely legitimate concerns about the president's ability to do the most vigorous job in the world for the next 4 years is enabling fascism. Yet even the president doesn't seem particularly alarmed.
If you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
So it's about him giving it his all?
That's not what this is about! There are no participation trophies in endgame democracy. Oh, yeah. I remember FDR saying, well, if the Nazis take over Europe, at least both teams had fun. And it's really troubling as this new information has been introduced.
You know, I'll say this much. They shouldn't be making fun of Biden. This is an old man that needs to be home. And that's it. Retirement. Enjoy life and not running the country. Because it looks like it's a lot of work for anybody. So here we are now. Everybody's making fun of Biden.
We just learned about this, and now we're all being told, well, you should have thought of that before you knew it.
We can't go against the will of the voters. Democrats who voted in all 50 states in the primary, that is who they want to be their nominee.
He's the nominee because millions and millions of people voted for him to be our nominee. And he will be our nominee. End of story.
There was no real primary. Biden ran against Dean Phillips. That's not even a real person. That's a stock photo on the package for a garden hose. It's not a person. It's AI. And let me say this. Authoritarianism and Donald Trump aren't the only threats our democracy faces. An arthritic status quo, unable or unwilling to respond in any way to the concerns of voters who just received new and urgent information about their candidate, also erodes confidence and faith in the system of government. Get on board or shut the up is not. Yeah.
Yeah, get on board the cult, the Democratic cult, and stop looking at the obvious. The fact that we have a president who is not really running the country. It's like the deep state is running the country. And it's more and more obvious who is the deep state, right? It's the people who don't get fired, the people who don't get told, no, don't do that. Those are the deep states that right now are just opening up the borders, letting criminals commit crimes and not sending anybody to jail, even after they commit a crime. And it's total chaos. And we're supposed to just ignore it and say, at least we got our candidate in the office. I don't know. Comment below, what do you think?
Honestly, though, get on board or shut the up is not a particularly compelling pro-democracy bumper sticker. Nor is, what are you going to do?
I've gotten a lot of text today from folks who watched a lot of West Wing episodes and imagine a very complex path through which we might have a robust primary process. But Wolf, you know the reality. There's 4 months left to the presidential election.
So if they pick somebody new, are they going to be able to build them up in 4 months? I like the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy says that whoever you pick, if you switch them, they're going to go through like a honeymoon phase, maybe a month or less, but then they're going to destroy them. So they don't really have much time. So I think it makes sense that they're going to wait closer to election day to switch them, maybe in August. So if they switch them in August, I got to give a shout out to Vivette for predicting it correctly. But this sucks. The fact that they're just laughing in our faces and the Democratic cult just keep pushing the agenda.
4 months is forever. Britain just held an election in 2 months. France had 2 in 1 month, defeated fascism, and still had time to have an affair with Denmark. Are you telling me, you sons of bitches, are you coming to my house and saying to my face that the United States of Bruce Springsteen's America can't hold an election better than a French? Is that what you're telling me? It's 4 months. 4 months. It's 119 days. There are contestants on The Bachelor who haven't even met yet that will get married and divorced between now and the election. We have nothing but time. And by the way, I am in no way saying Biden's got to drop out, but can't we stress test this candidacy? Can't we open up the conversation? Do you understand the opportunity here? Do you have any idea how thirsty Americans are for any hint of inspiration or leadership and a release from this choice of a megalomaniac and a suffocating gerontocracy?
It's like the only thing they got is fear of Trump. So talking bad about Trump is the only thing that they have on their pocket. So the last time Biden won was because people hated Trump. But now you can hate Trump all you want, but your candidate got issues. And this man just needs to go on retirement. And that's it. Pray to God Trump doesn't send the hounds or try to prosecute him after office, just like they're doing Trump now. So fingers crossed.
Crushing our spirits. Do you have any idea what could be ahead of you? All we want is for someone to keep it 100. The percentage, not the age. That's all we want. Here's an idea. I'll spitball it. It's last minute. But why don't we try and get all the Democrats together in, 6 weeks' time? We could get everybody to fly into some Midwestern town, maybe like one adjacent to important swing states. Let's call it Chicago. And they could spend, 4 days there because nobody works Fridays anymore. And on Monday, anybody who wants to gives their sales pitch of how they can make democracy more responsive to the people it is supposed to serve. You could bang it out. On Tuesday, the winners could move on to the next round and then face Biden. They could face Biden. Biden had a bye. Wednesday would be an off day, bus tour to find the restaurant from the Bear. Thursday, the party emerges, energized, unified, sanctified. You could televise the entire proceeding for 4 days. You could call it, The Apprentice. I'm just workshopping here. So, feel free to ignore any obvious weaknesses in your team's existential fight for freedom and democracy. And then just white knuckle this thing till November. Or take the advice of your own candidate.
Do you think there is any Democrat who could defeat Donald Trump other than you?
Probably 50 of them.
50? I gotta say, I like the cut of that fella's jib.
So they let the dogs loose on Joe Biden. Now all the media are going up against Biden. So they're not going to help him win. Well, we got two camps. We got those that say keep Biden on the ticket, and then those that say take him off. Let's see who's going to win that argument. So we live in some crazy time right now where the ballot is actually important. And we have We have even Elon Musk talking about it. The fact that we got to get this thing straight. We got to straighten out this border roll. We got to not let illegal migrants vote. Let me see if I can zoom this in. No. So we're at a point where we cannot let the Democrat win this time around. Doesn't matter how much they want to. But if you stuck around this long, we've been on for what, 35 minutes now. My name is Noel, battling MS here at Very Real on Life, trying to bring no news to you guys, let you know what's out there. All right, before closing out, I wanted to read this Elon Musk tweet on X. He wrote down, when combined with mail-in ballots, the system is designed to make it impossible to prove fraud. So you cannot prove fraud. Mail-in and drop boxes ballot should not be allowed, as scammers on the in-person voting stations would at least prevent large-scale fraud by counting how many people showed up versus what? Versus ballot cast. So we have a system that doesn't work that needs to get fixed. The Democrats are not going to fix it because it favors them. It favors a lot of politicians. So we live in some crazy time. People are turning against Biden. I saw it from the beginning. Everybody saw it from the beginning. People were just pretending that they didn't see this, that they didn't see this old man trying to run the country. But I think all the newscasters already got the notice. It's okay for you to just go in on him and talk bad about him because we're trying to get him out. And for that, we got to get the people watching to understand that this candidate needs to go. So let's see if they're able to convince the two people that are running Joe Biden, which is his wife, I forgot her name, and Hunter Biden. Those are the two people that are now running Joe Biden. And if you're running Joe Biden, that means you're running the country. So we live in some crazy time. All right, I think I lost the audio here. Let me try this.
Verbal or life.
Okay, now I think I lost the audio to the channel and it's not working. All right, so I want to hear from you guys, okay? I'm trying to grow my channel here, slowly but surely, bring you guys information, bring you guys news. But in order for me to keep it going, I'm going to need you guys to give it a thumbs up. All right, give me a reason to keep talking, to keep moving, all right? Otherwise, it's not going to work. So far, didn't get a lot of views on my last video on Proposal 2025. Proposal 2025 is the best proposal out there and it's going to save the country. So a lot of African Americans are turning in favor of it. They love what it says. A lot of people love what it says. I just think Trump doesn't need to talk about it until he gets in. Anything crazy that Trump is going to do, I hope he doesn't talk about it until he gets into office. Then he's free to do whatever he wants. So the trick is to first win the nomination and then talk about what he's going to implement or what he's going to do. And that's it, because a lot of things need to happen. Like a lot of the deep state actors got to go. Like, for example, the FBI, the CIA, they got members that are just working against the president. So how are you going to have somebody working against you that works for you? That makes no sense. So once he gets in there, hopefully he'll fix that up. When a valid ID is required. Look at this. When is a valid ID required? It's required when you're boarding a plane, getting a prescription, applying for a job, cashing a check, applying for food stamps, driving, getting married, adopting a pet, buying alcohol. But you don't need ID if you're going to vote. Help me make sense. Help me help it make sense. It's ridiculous. Are you concerned about voter fraud? At this particular point, I just hope that Trump has the people in place that are going to be monitoring and making sure things can happen. But you know what? Here is a crazy scenario. If Kamala Harris now becomes a nominee and somehow she wins 90 million votes, even though her percentage rate of popularity is really low, that would be insane. That's like a slap in the face. That all the polls show that she's below 30%, but yes, she wins. I don't know, man. That's a wake-up call that the voting system we got doesn't work. And we need to switch it up. So that's the only time I'm concerned. The Hodge twins, they wrote, the left knows all of this. This is exactly why they want it. They know they cannot win unless they cheat. They know it's their only chance. But they tell us what is racist. They tell us it's racist, a threat to democracy. If they don't get their mail-in ballots and drop boxes, total fraud. Like the word racist lost its meaning in my point of view. Like nothing is racist. Racist at this particular point is a made-up word that doesn't even exist in America. So anybody talks racist to you, cut that conversation off. It's not real. That's it. We're all free to do whatever we want. Like, I'm Dominican and I got every door open for me. I got every job that I ever wanted. So here we go. A Mexican cannot vote in Mexico without a valid ID. He must come to America to do that. Let that sink in. That's crazy. You can't vote in your country, but you can come here illegally and vote. That's a good one. Okay, on what planet should a union that can endorse a presidential candidate be allowed to collect and deliver the ballots for that election? Wait, let me think about that. On what planet should a union that can endorse a presidential candidate be allowed to collect and deliver the ballots? So if you're endorsing a particular candidate, whenever you pick up the opposite candidate ballots, you're going to throw it in the garbage. So that doesn't make sense. It's a lot of things that we do here that don't make sense. Everything they do makes it clear. So Democrats claim 2020 was the most secure election in history. If that is true, then this isn't true. Democrats are fighting forensic audits with everything they have. Yeah, they really are fighting it. Democrats released a virus, used it to rig the election, then had the FBI dressed as patriots and stage an insurrection. And everybody knows it. There was a lot of FBI agents during that January 6th insurrection. And then they tried to say that it was all Trump supporters, when in reality, there were a lot of FBI agents in there caught raising hell. Look at this one. AAA says properly inflated tires can save drivers 3 cents per gallon. Properly counted ballots can save $3 per gallon. It's true, gas is super high. Why? Because we got the wrong candidate in office. So if we switch it up, gas prices will go back down. That makes sense. And she looks pretty. What is this? Generation Z destroying our country. She treated Biden like a child, saying you knew all the answers. Rigged. The election fraud documentary is censored by Google. They have a documentary called Rigged. I gotta watch that. The election that divided a nation. Oh, man, it's going to be crazy. November's election are going to be insane. And it's unbelievable that a billionaire is able to relate to regular people. A billionaire, Donald Trump, a non-politician, is able to relate to people. So it's like everybody in office, all politicians, were doing their jobs, not relating to anybody. They were just doing what's best for their pockets. But yet this billionaire, Donald Trump, is just coming in here and it's actually relating to people and how politicians need to get out and let the working folks work, make a living, and blow up. Because government regulations are not good for the regular people. All right, I'm going to take that video away because the audio is not working. I think with social media, people are looking into what's happening. Fair election would end the Democratic Party. Yeah, so true. If we can put serial numbers on every bill, we can put one on every ballot. Sure, right? How difficult can it be? They make everything sound impossible when it's not. Look at this guy. LGBTQ glasses. Pro dog, pro ghost, pro guns. Let's go. All right. All right, but in this video now for 46 minutes. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still on, my name is Noel, battling MS, doing my best to keep bringing you guys information and keep you guys informed that people are stepping away from the Democratic convention and waking up, making decisions that are actually better for us. Not the Democratic plantation, because they got us working as slaves. It says here the presidential election should just be voted on X. Pretty simple. Oh no, that's a parody, Elon Musk parody. So that's not a real thing. Look at this young lady ballot stuffing, being caught by CNN. And they're just pretending like they can't see what the camera can see. Don't believe your eyes. Why is she standing there with a bunch of ballots? It's supposed to just be one. And she's just stuffing it. Like, don't believe your eyes. How stupid is this? Vote aquí. Maricopa County elections. Arizona got the worst election counting. Non-citizens to vote in U.S. elections. Here's how they do it. Knock it off. Insane. My 2 cents. I have to use ID to register to vote. Mail-in or drop has taken the matches. Has tracking that matches me plus my signature attesting I am filling it out. Anyone against drop off or mail-in ballot simply just has seen process and tracking. Maybe I misread that. Anyone against drop off or mail-in simply hasn't seen the process and tracking. I guess you're pro mailing. If you were voting here tomorrow, use Meridian. What the hell is Meridian? I didn't know J.D. Vance was another Trumper. Interesting. We all live and we learn. But all right. I think I've done enough damage on this video. I'm gonna go upstairs and try to fix my sink, which is flooded. But again, if you stuck around for this long, again, my name is Noel, Battling MS. Just trying to do my best to bring you guys information. Hopefully you enjoy the content. And if you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. That's all I'm going to ask for. All right. With that said, I didn't get any comments. Nobody said anything. And I'm just practicing here. Hopefully the audio sounds good. And I'm going to go upstairs. Peace. Thanks for watching.